Hi, hi. Welcome to the first Space Out Tuesday, and welcome back to another semester at TAMUCC. Happy Spring 2020. We'll get started in a few minutes as folks trickle in. How are we doing this evening? First day of the semester, how's that been? Welcome, welcome. So, folks, what we're doing today, and what we're going to be doing for a couple Tuesdays this semester, at least until Outer Worlds gets bored or we move on with our academic and intellectual interests, I just want to, I think the skull, Dr. Salter, is always appropriate. Also, the alien emoji, I think, could work. But what we're doing today is starting in on our Outer Worlds adventure for Space Out Tuesdays, a dumb weekly stream that I'm planning every Tuesday, where we take this sort of neo-colonial space narrative and think about how Obsidian's sort of sandbox RPG, aw puppy, opens up conversations about speculative fiction, genders, bodies, pleasures, and especially against the sort of backdrop of a sort of sci-fi mega corporate colonial solar system, right? So it's like, cool, we got space. But space means profit and maximizing profit, and I've been watching a lot of The Expanse, so I very much have that on the brain right now. But thinking about what opportunities for sort of critiques and what sort of feelings emerge when we're immersed in this open world RPG. So this is our inaugural session for Spring 22. We're going to be streaming every Tuesday night at 6. We're also going to have a different stream every Thursday night at 6. Beach Thing Thursdays. I'll mention that at the end of the stream. But let's get started with the Outer Worlds and think about... it's space capitalism. We're thinking about space capitalism. Okay, setting up conversation on, yes, cinematic subtitles on. This stream should also be live captioned, and you can move that captioning around as well and turn it off if need be, so that is available for your interface. Adjusting the text size, because my monitor's small and also I'm an old man. And away we go. I actually really like the loading screens here, that they are, I think, aesthetic as hell, and they allow us to sort of get that commercialization feeling really from the start. All right, I'm going to stop talking and let you enjoy the intro cutscene.
The only colony on the edge of the frontier, owned and operated by corporations. A trip of 10 short years will feel like mere minutes, thanks to the comfort and safety of your very own hibernation chamber. You'll wake up in a perfect society designed to maximize your productivity with guaranteed full employment. With only a minor term of service, you will become the master of your own destiny when you go out of this world to the Halcyon colony.
So again, I think the intro sequence gives us a lot of terminology that we could put pressure on. Hopes, utopias, perfect civilizations. And of course, that perfect civilization comes with the promise of productivity, right? Because that's how you live in a utopia. You are just as productive as possible. If you have taken a class with me before, you know that we spend a lot of time thinking about structures of feelings and the way that all feelings are traps. So I do like that this game starts out with like the promise of happiness, right? Sarah Ahmed, this idea of like hope, this forward-thinking utopic vision that we then get to put some pressure on in the actual RPG.
Hundreds of thousands of colonists will have to drift out here forever, just to keep from damaging the board's bottom line. Disgraceful.
I mean, I do also think maybe it's a bit gauche to talk about bodies being left in the cold for corporate bottom lines during 2022, but I think we're all ready to have those conversations. So this is our building tree, right? So we just get to make our character first with attributes, and then we'll move on to like some skills, some aptitudes, do some customization and appearance, name them, and give them a background. This is the beauty of RPGs. Do y'all play RPGs? I know I see Dr. Salter in chat. I'm not sure who else is sort of lurking. But I really like... This is maybe my favorite part of RPG role-playing games, right? Is that you get to just like design different characters. And in terms of video game theory, there are several sort of schools of thought, right? That one, this allows for radical different types of identifications. So playing across genders, across embodiments is pretty cool. But then there's this sort of flip side, the crankier argument, which is like, cool. You can build whatever character you want across sort of, right, like racializations, hi. But like it will ultimately collapse because like you're still a white boy playing a game, right? So thinking about the different opportunities, but also sort of the limitations. But let's build a character. I'm cheating a little bit in the sense that I've already sunk a lot of hours into Outer World, and I do think having mind is particularly helpful, especially with science weapons. So I don't know, chat, what are we doing? Are we building a brainy boy or a body boy or girl? Or I think it actually limits it in terms of two genders. I do want to play Cyberpunk 2077 because like you get to really customize anatomy in that, and I think that's fascinating. Yeah, what are we thinking? I think we should definitely put in some brain because it is a sci-fi game. Good. We should have some lockpicking and engineering. That feels right. We have 2 more stats. I mean, we could just make an absolute glass cannon. Although I do think we should maybe have a little bit of dex. This game is also infinitely engaging in the sense that you can play through just like a really... Let's go brainy! Absolutely. You can also play this like just like super dumb, so you can pick the least charismatic option on every interaction possible and just create an absolutely dense individual, which is quite fun. So let's brain, some charm and some temperament. Oh, we should get some health. That feels real. Okay. Let's pick some skills. I think we should definitely, because we're brainy, science and med. And again, the conceit here with this game is that it is sort of right sci-fi, speculative fiction, playing around in space. So I think plasma, shock damage, science weapon effects feels good.
A fellow tinkerer.
Maybe some stealth? Some dialogue? Well, we're not really charming. Let's get some ranged.
I hear Monarch's in need of more game hunters.
And then this is, again, the fantasy of role-playing games, right? It's about sort of identification. It is about sort of immersing yourself in a world, developing sort of a bit of a customizable experience, right? This sort of Skyrim open-worldy stuff. So it allows us to pick our background. Man, I do want to be a dirt farmer. But we can really sort of pick a background. If we're going super brainy, I do like brainy build. Science +1. You've cleaned out enough test tubes to develop a keen instinct for what goes in them and why. Maybe you didn't get in this business to mop up the leavings of failed experiments, but that's just part of the job. Even if you can't unsee what happens in the lab, you can at least learn from the mistakes and enjoy some colorful nightmares. Beautiful. Sous chef. Operations specialist. Engineering +1. How do we feel about the STEM? Yes, I'm a checkout clerk. I mean, I kind of do like the idea of just a bad grad student, scientist assistant. I'm reading this as a TA. This is how I am choosing to interpret this. I do like the idea of a space sous chef who gets a one-handed melee weapon bonus because they're good with a knife. You're holding out for that advancement to poultry inspection, which is due any year now. These are also, I don't know, I think the irony of this game, and Obsidian was really developed the early Fallout series, so it's got this like tongue-in-cheek sort of relationship to labor, profit, and then, right, the thing that we all play RPGs for, which is murdering for fun and profit. That follow directions and do your own thing. And because I think that, like, yes, right, that one of the tensions of this game and sort of RPGs, right, is that it is fantasies of open freedom, but always already constrained by certain things. So it's like the promise of, okay, you have all of your own options and agency, but also here are sort of prescriptions and tracks one sort of has to follow. So it's a really interesting tension between sort of, right, player agency, immersion, and hypermediacy. Let's go sous chef. You know what? We're doing this.
I hope you know how to cook with mostly inorganic material.
And then gender gives us only 2 options, which, I don't know. I was once on a campus visit before I got this job, where I was playing a video game as part of a teaching demonstration, and I was like hoping that students would get to this idea of like, what does it maybe mean to customize sort of genders or have sort of a range of genders, or think about bodies in terms of like a marketplace and a customizable marketplace. It's very like Donna Haraway-y. But how are we feeling? What do we make of the fact that first of all, it's set in space colony times, but we only got 2 genders? Thoughts, feelings, opinions? I will say, very soft features for now. Across genders. I want to be a space sous chef lady. That's where I'm feeling. And again, I'm wondering, because I spend a lot of time thinking about bodies, aesthetics, again, structures of feelings, what do we think is sort of lost and what do we think is sort of gained, or what are sort of, right, the benefits or opportunities, or what are some of the limitations of being able to just absolutely cultivate a sort of playable character with sort of, right, all the way from head to skin tones, eye colors, all the way to like brow size, jaw lines, what do we make of all of these sort of options? I mean, Dr. Salter, absolutely, and bring the food and lit students into stream where we talk about like sci-fi food and lit. I mean, this is who she is. She's a sous chef. She is an intergalactic sous chef, and this is how we have to operate. Oh man, we can just really give her all the cheekbones. This is actually what she uses to julienne carrots the cheeks. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And again, giving us a range of sort of mostly shorter cropped hairstyles. But what are we... How are we feeling about the sort of aesthetics, designing a sort of spacer, and having all of these sort of options, right? Again, I've been watching a lot of The Expanse, so I'm really into belter hair. Just like this short cut crop. Right. Yeah, right. That one, hey, aesthetics, the way one is dressed and coded, right, tells stories and allows us to sort of, right, signal different backgrounds, sous chef, and allows us to sort of, absolutely, yeah, get that chef aesthetic, keep the hair out. Man, eyebrow style. Oh, yes. Here we are. Come on. I take back everything that I was skeptical of in terms of regressive binaries of gender. All genders can have facial hair. They did not lock in facial hair as just cis man coded. Thoughts, feelings. I'm in love with her. Thoughts and feelings. I'm gonna give her a little 5 o'clock shadow. I do love when a game is not a coward and doesn't have to operate under sort of, right, cis-normative fantasies, especially space sci-fi game, right? And we can get some makeup on. No makeup, she's working in the kitchen. Ooh, kitchen accident scars? Big fan. All right. We need a character name. Who is our space character? I mean, ready to take on the entire galaxy. Strong, got the facial hair. I love it. I'm naming her after a colonist that will appear in several iterations of your undergraduate degree if you study here with us at TAN UCC, Robinson after Robinson Crusoe. I know that Dr. Zeman teaches that trash novel in, or sections of that trash novel in Traveling Racisms, and Defoe haunts my life as an 18th century historian. We're doing Space Robinson Crusoe. And this feels real. Here's Space Robinson Crusoe, who is a sous chef. She is a very intelligent, brainy person with some good health, can wield a knife. Let's make this happen.
Looks to be your lucky day, my friend.
And truly, I think Robinson Crusoe never leaves us because
Not like
canonicity and nightmare consequences of the Enlightenment. But maybe she can be better. We can make her better. I'm also going to ask us to put a little bit of pressure on the sort of sci-fi STEM vibes here. That how does technology sort of both liberate but reoppress in this narrative? I mean, the framework's pretty on point, right, Dr. Salter? That
there you
the
are.
conceit
Wondering what's
of
going on, eh?
getting rescued while you were about to just be space trash for corporate profit positions you as a player in a particular sort of way, and then with what we can bring to the table, it just really compounds the types of pressure that we can put on certain normalcies.
Some quite horrifying results. It's called explosive cell death, but it's really more of a liquefaction. Something wrong? Oh, yes, well, not to worry. I've pumped your body full of a special concoction I devised to keep you from dying so horrifically. Hopefully at all, but I guess we'll see, yes? Unfortunately, I used the last of my chemical supplies saving you. I know it's a lot to ask, but I must have your help securing more if we're to save the rest of your fellow.
You're welcome.
I'd see it done myself, of course, but the board has a sizable bounty on my head. Now, my ship is inoperative, but I've managed to hire a smuggler to help you out. He'll be... Oh, I see we're in position. Good luck!
And again, these loading screens that are about, I don't know, periodicals, Dr. Salter, volume 65, issue number 1 of the Halcyon Observer, intercuts these sort of tongue-in-cheek, vintage, but sci-fi propaganda machines in between your sort of playing experience. And I would love to think about what these sort of loading screens invoke and how and why they do that.
He's to be your chauffeur, so to speak. And not to worry, I'm told he's a specialist. Dashing gunslinger, one-of-a-kind ship, that sort of thing. You'll like him, I'm sure. I've also outfitted you with a simple wireless monitor, so I can track your progress. I'll check in with you as soon as you land. Good luck. All the colonists are counting on you.
That's fantastic. And I do think, long-form, open-ended RPGs are also about seriality in the sense that it's about seriality without linearity, if that makes sense. I don't know. I would love to hear... Dr. Salter, how I get you on stream for a Space Out Tuesday to talk about seriality, these sort of intercuts, and newspaper fictions.
Is that him? Oh, that idiot. I told him to plant the beacon and move away, not stand there holding it. Oh well, no sense in letting his ship go to waste.
I also do the opening joke is, I've sent you with a smuggler and a chauffeur, right? Here's the dashing space person that will take you to your next quest. And immediately... I'm just saying, Dr. Salter, put a pen in it. Clear Tuesday. I'll see you for Tuesday night. Space Out Tuesday. But that we, kill the dashing space guy first. And that's very fun, especially given who we just made a queer lady sous chef. And I like that a lot. So I think this game really balances... See? I think this game balances ecosystem, color palette, sci-fi sort of stuff, and the like Skyrim world that we're kind of used to, or that is so popular. Thoughts about the aesthetics so far? This mix of extraterrestrial, organic, familiar, unfamiliar. Oh, I want a lizard friend. Hi, Allie. I also appreciate a good RPG that gives you waypoint markers. That makes me happy, makes me feel safe. Hey, and of course, we can... Oh, terrarium feels very real. And of course, we can loot bodies. Yeah, good gore work, I would also say, in this game. But this feels very Robinson Crusoe, right? Just, like, take whatever you can find on the ground. Well, we are going to be streaming through Space Out Tuesdays. So, like, hang out with our space colonist named Robinson, and play by proxy. Oh, I mean, it's super saturated, right? Yeah. And that, like, the enemy is super neon. Okay. And we're sneaking, and we're sneaking. My favorite part about the way that Robinson, and by favorite part I mean least favorite part, because that novel's like an absolute ooh. Speaking of space, sort of right violence. But the way that Defoe imagines like this washed up like English capitalist on the island is like encountering other people and other sort of encountering right like the ecosystem of the island is just like, oh yeah, no, I see one set of footprints, everybody must have one leg and be cannibals. And I like that this game chooses to introduce you to sort of right no-legged people and right no-legged corpses and vicious animal life. Oh, that's great. Oh, I also will say that this game is great in terms of corporeality. That I don't know if you just heard like a lovely snap, but too many injuries in one particular place will sacrifice something like movement speed because of compounded broken leg. So that it takes into account sort of how and where your avatar's body is takes sort of damage. First of all, love this. You're on death's door. The first thing that you do is recite the company motto. You've tried the best. Now try the rest. Spacer's choice. Very good to me. Like that's great. Thank you, capitalism. What do we do? Are we going to patch this person up, or sort of ask what happened, or ask about Spacer's what? Again, we're brainy. Do we care? Are we generous? Are we patching them up? Or are we sort of getting answers first? I mean, correct. She's a sous chef. The kitchen is brutal. We'll wait.
We were out on patrol. I saw a marauder camp up in the hills. Thought I could take him. Then my gun misfired. Right through my side. I mean, what are the odds of that, right? Just barely scraped by with my life. crawled in here and blocked off the exit with those canisters.
Okay, we'll be nice. We'll patch up.
Looks like the bleeding stopped. I owe you one. Hope you don't mind me omitting this little exchange from my report. Spacer's Choice doesn't like us accepting outside help.
I mean, I'm not going to say unionize, but everybody should unionize. I'm just saying that we can get a little more information and then patch them up. Let's hear about Marauders.
Gibbering, flesh-eating, law-breaking, unemployed lunatics with guns. Some hullhead grounded their spacecraft out in the open. That's a real good way to attract marauders. See those canisters by the entrance? Marauders come sniffing around in here, and I can take them all out with a single shot. Not bad, huh?
I mean, again, I do love that. And by love, I mean sort of hate. Again, encounters with, like, Terran life forms has to be framed through sort of atavistic, animalistic frameworks, right? Cannibalism, it's a choice. And not apolitical. So what do we do? Are we... they also sort of insinuated that we were boneheads for crashing our ship. Persuade, I've got a better idea. Give me your gun and I'll go get help. Lie, someone grounded their ship illegally. I'll hunt them down for you. Or intimidate, and get ourselves a gun the more aggressive way. What should we do? Man, I'm gonna have to figure out how to, like, put polls in chat as we get more folks on stream. I mean, we're brainy. I feel like a nice persuasion.
Yeah, okay. You look like you know your way around a gun. Got some spare ammo, not counting the bullet in my side. Here, you can have my saber too, for patching me up and all. All Spacer's Choice weapons are now...
We get a bunch of light ammo, and we get a knife, a saber. So we can just go, again, full sous chef. This is our best decision. Yeah, where are we? Can you tell me where I am?
You hit your head or something? You're an emerald.
No, you're fine. Everything's a little bit delay-y, so there are no apologies on stream. How dare you?
Be sure to stop by a provisioner's for a can of our famous salt tuna.
Do we know anything about the Hope, the ship we were on that got abandoned?
The Hope? Is that some sort of fancy new drug? Are you
Yes. Oh, that's a fun switch point for me. Hope is a fancy new drug.
I'm not allowed to fraternize.
Everybody, please read Cruel Optimism before next stream. It will be featured heavily. All right, let's go kill some marauders, right? Space violence. Let's do it. Here's our gun. Here's us shooting the gun. That would be something different. I don't want to shoot that lizard. I kind of want to shoot that lizard. Violent video games don't make people violent. Oh, fun. Tactical time dilation. Slows down the world. This essentially does like slow motion action hero gameplay. This is very fun. We're gonna sneak up on some marauders. All right. So, video games, of course, come under a lot of heavy fire for being too violent, too aggressive, that it sort of, right, promotes a very negative relationship to players and violence and immersion. And we just killed 2 marauders. How do we feel about the way that this game envisions or encounters sort of gun violence, looting, slow-mo action movie violence? What's sort of lost and what's sort of gained in this ability to sort of slow down and luxuriate in the combat, and versus some of the other, man, we can just loot everything, versus some of like the quicker, more like rapid and or brutal moments? Why slow us down? I mean, I think there's a very real gameplay reason to slow us down. This is all mine now. I'm just looting. Lockpicks. I guess, right, like, ever since Columbine, the argument has been that violent media creates violence in youth. Oh. Two-handed melee. No, we are one-handed, but I'll take this and sell it later. What do we think about such linear or cause and effect type arguments? Oh, more marauders. I mean, this isn't not... I don't know. The conceit of the game, or at least this opening experience, isn't not crash land on a planet and then murder folks who are here. I mean, they frame it in terms of certainly like, oh, there are bad guys you're encountering. But thoughts about this initial framework? How do I pull out my knife? This is what I want. Great. Yeah. I mean, Dr. Salter's sort of suggesting that the stylization of violence is allowing or creating a particular sort of troubling experience, right? But I mean, counter arguments. Does the might the stylization sort of help might the stylization sort of help mitigate some of the sort of brutality? This does not tell me how I get to change. Settings. Controls. Gameplay. Nope. I mean, it certainly allows you to rest in it. It exhibits the violence, as Dr. Salter's pointing to, and that doesn't feel amazing. I mean, does it help that it's coming from I've just decided she's queer, a queer sous chef named Robinson? Or is that equally troubling still? I guess, right, like violence coming from all types of bodies and all types of players isn't necessarily the same type of violence.
Don't know where you came from, stranger, but you best keep your head down. There's marauders hereabouts, and worse, landing violators. Gall on that rung leech. Landing in the Vale without using an official Spacer's Choice landing pad. I'd slap him with a fine if it weren't for all these marauders shambling about.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do like the idea that illegal parking, which is essentially what this is more of a threat than cannibalizing, like, than space cannibals. But I don't know. That's very funny to me. Big fan of the irony. Yeah. How do we handle this situation with Lieutenant Mercer, parking enforcer? It's just a landing violation, let it go. So I heard I found one of your teammates holed up in a cave, option 2. Or option 3, I've already dealt with a few of these marauders. I'm not impressed. I've dealt with worse things in the kitchen for years. I think that's, yeah, absolutely. There's an automatic bus that will also be coming through here, Dr. Salter. I mean, my initial reaction, it's a landing violation, let it go. Or, you know, tell Mercer where the victim is. Although that might go on their company record. What option are we feeling? Or option 3, just full badass sous chef.
Really? How is he?
We're gonna go with option 2. Oh, great. I also do love RPGs in the sense that it's like, especially ones with dialogue maps where you're like, oh, I'm trying to be helpful. And then you get options of like, here's something that feels kind of neutral and kind of generous. I helped him with the pain. Or something that just feels insulting. That like, they give you dialogue trees and it's just still potentially rude.
Shouldn't have done that. Spacer's Choice family ain't authorized to receive medical aid from off-brand physicians.
Great.
We'll see him back to Edgewater. Just as soon as I cross these marauders off with the swift, cost-efficient fury that's made Spacer's Choice the most trusted brand in personal defense. I just, you know, need a couple of winks to catch my breath. Stretch my legs some.
I mean, what I think is so funny about this game is that everybody in, or on at least, right, this planet Terra, just repeats the company rhetoric so quickly and so easily, right? The problems of getting an off-brand physician, the idea of like using Spacer's Choice brand X things. I don't know. I think this game is a wonderful case study in how to take corporate language to its absolute extreme, to think about things like brand loyalty, the obligations of being employed by a certain company, therefore only using said companies, or at least publicly vocalizing said companies' benefits, that it just... And to intermix that with, like, space violence. Really funny for me. So, what do we do? Try and get them into this fight. Do Spacer's Choice guards back down from a challenge? Do we lie? I bet you can get those marauders to tell you where the owner of that ship is. Again, we are the owners of that ship. That is entirely our ship. It has already smooshed a man. That's who we are. Guess I'll have to give you a 0 on my customer satisfaction survey. And I love that that's an intimidation check. That this is the thing that will get a corporate lieutenant the most scared, which is negative evals. And if that's not too on the nose, I was an Uber driver during grad school, so like the threat of not getting a 5-star review still haunts me to this day. Or don't worry, sit tight, I'll handle it. So we can do some skill checks, or, persuade feels like the nicest. Lie feels like it helps us the most. Intimidation just feels like we're pulling a space Karen, and I don't think Robinson is a space Karen. Okay, well, Dr. Salter loves the Yelp option. As a sous chef, who has maybe been asked to take things back to the kitchen before and remake it, maybe that, fits with our background. Let's do the Yelp option, fine.
Seriously? But those marauders will... Ugh. You know what? You're right. It's time we cross those marauders off, find whoever owns that ship, and file a full report. And it's gonna be fucking laminated.
Love it. And it's gonna be fucking laminated. Okay, there are other people they could have run after. Full report, investigation with lamination. It's truly the only way to make it official. Space official. And looting for ammo. Okay. Thoughts about the looting afterwards. I raised this question, right, about the sort of concerns about, and the sort of vaguely moralist concerns about violence, aesthetics, and video game playing, and that this violence potentially asks us to get saturated in it. It also potentially asks us to over-stylize it, which is maybe a problem. But then it's also coupled with the thing that, and I also play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, the classic thing that you do to an enemy's body in a game, which is casually loot it. What do we do with dead bodies in this game? How do we feel about the looting mechanic? It helps that these are marauders, i.e., I don't know, humanoid cannibal space villains. But what do we do with the casual looting that you can literally just hold triangle and take everything off that corpse? How do we feel?
Please be informed that this vessel contains no valuable plunder. Unauthorized access of spacefaring vessels is a crime. Please submit yourself to the authorities.
This is also where we get to meet the sassy central computer named Ada, and I do quite like her. The looting option just feels so casual and brutal, as you just have, you don't even have to sort through their stuffs, right? You can just take it all in one fell swoop. That as a gameplay mechanic, it really, I don't know, streamlines the desecration of a body.
Misappropriated equipment and exit this vessel in an orderly fashion. Failure to do so will result in your immediate destruction.
So now we have to interact with the sassy central computer. What are you gonna do? Self-destruct? I don't know. Maybe they're from Space Boston. I'm not here to misappropriate anything, and I don't appreciate being talked to that way. How would Robinson, our space sous chef, respond to a computer with a bit of an edge? I do think sous chefs are invested in mutually assured destruction, if my understanding of kitchens is correct.
Jettison procedures initiated. Disengaging airlocks. Prepare to eject all formed parties in 5.
There are no bad choices.
3, 2,
Unless it's to
1.
tow company lines, then I think we can agree that that's the bad choice.
You are still here. My deception protocols have failed. I have been programmed to express disappointment. This vessel is the registered property of Captain Alex Hawthorne. I am incapable of accepting orders from anyone other than Captain Alex Hawthorne.
This is actually very funny. So the ship is incapable of accepting orders from anyone other than Captain Alex Hawthorne. How do we break the news to the ship and this robot, which is entirely how you say that word? It's a robot. Hawthorne was supposed to meet me when I landed. Hawthorne's dead, I'm sorry. Or your captain's a red smear under my escape pod. I do think, Dr. Salter, this would be the bad choice here. So I'm kind of tempted to click it. I don't know. Do sous chefs have sympathy? Empathy? Are sous chefs sociopaths? Find out in Pie Hole, Literature and Culture and Food. Okay, great. Then your captain's a red smear under my escape pod. Just like the steak that I was prepping last night. Is that food? I maybe actually don't know what food is or how to cook.
Thank you for your patience and for your honesty. I am programmed to take orders exclusively from Captain Hawthorne. If I accept your orders, then you must be Captain Hawthorne.
Word.
Do you understand?
I get it. You need me to be Captain Hawthorne, or you can fly.
Well done, Captain Hawthorne. I see your powers of deductive reasoning remain intact. Unfortunately, our engine is currently inoperable. Our main drive suffered a critical power failure, and we were forced to make...
Weirdly, I think this animation works, that just having the eyes and the eyebrows sort of, loll around or sort of roll or cringe, rather than like a fully animated, like, cyborg face. I don't know, I think this adds to like the deadpan humor to create this sort of flattened creature with this sort of like straight dialogue. Oh hey, we're an engineer. Let's do that. Or we have engineering background. We're brainy. We went to engineering class once.
However, the probability of locating a power regulator within a worker settlement falls within acceptable parameters of certainty. High-capacity power regulators are sometimes employed in the electrical networks of worker settlements. I have taken the liberty of printing you a new captain's identity cartridge.
Fake IDs!
This cartridge identifies you, Alex Hawthorne, as the registered proprietor and captain.
Also, I love that the ship's called the Unreliable. That's very fun. Again, I've been watching a lot of The Expanse, so ironic ship names like the Rocinante, the Unreliable, ways that just sort of ironize the narrative that is telling about grand heroic space adventure and colonist conquest. Mwah, super fun for me. Yeah. Captain Hawthorne and the Unreliable. I like it. I personally like it.
Best of luck in your search for a power regulator. Try to stay alive this time.
Well, folks, we are level 2. We have assumed a fake identity of a man we murdered with our rescue pod. And we have to go get some sort of power supplies from a worker camp. I think that is great material to pick up with next Tuesday for Space Out Tuesdays. Thank you so much for hanging out for the first stream of spring 2022. I hope to be streaming twice a week this semester for Space Out Tuesdays. That's today. And then also, because I still have a bone to pick, we did not play it enough. I want to theorize it more. Absolutely, we're doing Death Stranding every Thursday at 6. So tell your friends, drop on by, hang out as we do Beach Thing Thursdays. So I will be back. And throughout the semester, right, I'm hoping to have other folks, colleagues in the English department, current students, former students, a few grad students, representatives from other student organizations, hanging out and on stream to talk about some of these themes, to talk about stuff that is going on with their college experience in their lives. We will also be keeping schedules open for potential guest streams as well over the weekend. But thanks so much for spending some of your Tuesday night, your first Tuesday night back with us online here. Take care, be well, and I will see you on the next stream. Have a lovely evening.